So I want to share the
Okay,
folder.
let's see what he's doing now. Let's see what he's doing.
Okay.
I'm
you want to
with
see
the
you
folder.
creating the
Yes,
folder?
I will share it now. I will share it now.
You know that folder, my friend is creating a normal folder now on the system. It's not what you're doing.
So what
Yes,
you say?
exactly.
It's creating a
So
normal
I
folder
just
on
share the folder. I create a JS folder on my desktop. So I've shared that now. So I think you are able to see.
I didn't see when he created it too.
Yes, just a standard folder now. It's a normal folder.
Okay, no problem.
The normal folder. Why is it carrying Google now? I'm seeing Google. Google. I share my Google Chrome, yes. Okay. And that is blank. So I've not really opened it. I have not opened any file inside. I just opened the browser down. Okay. So, and I also opened the folder inside of my code editor. So currently, if you look at it, you realize it's blank. It's completely blank. So I don't have anything inside of it yet. Okay, that means you imported it from there into the VS Code. Yeah, exactly. I will slap you. So I just have it inside of my VS Code. So then let's start. So ideally, we still need HTML. So we need one HTML file. So, and in this case, we name it index.html. So we still need this HTML file. Okay. Then the first thing I'll be showing you today, I'll be showing you how you can integrate JavaScript. Do you understand it now? How you can integrate JavaScript inside of your HTML. So assuming we have a simple HTML page now. So I'm going to make it simple enough. So I just want to have JS, and I will have this one with introduction.
Excuse me, I want to ask a question.
HTML. Okay, sir.
Why did you save with the index.htm? Not why did you remove the L?
Both extension works, sir.
In that case, leave it ML so that you confuse people now.
Didn't you know that he has been using this thing like this? Yes, I understand that part, but we've talked about that before, that you can use any of the two extensions, both will work.
Okay, no problem. Maybe I wasn't there.
Yes, so either you are working with .htm or you are working with .html, it doesn't really matter. So any of the two extensions will work fine for you.
It's okay.
Yes. So thank you, sir. So we have a paragraph with just hello world and nothing more. You understand? So now what I want to add now, I will add a simple button. Okay, and this button will read click me. So that is the content of the button, click me. So, and if you look at it now, you can see I have a very simple HTML page. This is a very simple HTML page that I have here. So I will go live. So I can open that inside of my browser. So we don't have, so, and you can see here in my browser, we see a very simple layout. So how can we actually integrate JavaScript? Now, just like when you work with CSS, there are three different methods by which you can add, okay, or integrate JavaScript into our HTML. So what are these three methods? So the first method, so I just want to have them as a list item here. So the first method, you have the inline. So you have the inline script. You have the second one, which is going to be internal script or embedded. So you can also embed your script. And finally, you have the external, your external script. So, and these are three different methods we can use in adding JavaScript to our page. So up to this point now, we don't have anything like JavaScript. yet. Do you understand it now? So how can we now add? So we start with the inline method. Okay, and ideally, I want to add JavaScript to this button. Okay, and what that JavaScript will do for me, I want the JavaScript to handle click. So whenever there's a click on this button, I want to do something. So currently now you can see I'm clicking on the button and you realize nothing happened, nothing. So remember, the primary purpose of JavaScript is to handle interactions, behavior of user. So when a user clicks on a button for an example, that is what we mean by user interaction. I'm trying to relate, I'm trying to interact with the button. Do you understand? And currently now, nothing happened, nothing happened. So we need to, and this basically nothing happened because there's no script to handle that click event. So how can we add? So we begin with the inline method. So with this inline method now, what do we do? So all we need to do here is very simple. You need to go to inside of your opening tag. Then you want to declare a specific attribute. Okay, and this attribute now is going to be on click. Now you can see immediately as I'm typing, we have a suggestion from my code editor here. We have on about, on block, on complete true, on change, on click, on context menu, on DB, that is double click, on drag end, and I can scroll down, okay, and you see different events. So any attribute, because these are basically HTML attributes, but any HTML attribute that you have that begin with on, okay, will basically trigger JavaScript. Okay.
Okay.
Do you understand the concept? You know, we've talked about attributes in HTML, their properties. Do you understand? And now for us to have that inline attribute, for us to have that inline JavaScript, we need to use some attributes. Okay, and in this case now, these attributes are very, very special because you always see them, they begin with the on. Okay, they begin with the on keyword. So on click, on double click, on drag end, on mouse over. Do you understand? So all these things begin with on. So any attribute that you see in HTML that begin with on keyword, okay, they will automatically do what? They will automatically trigger JavaScript action. Is that clear?
Yes.
So in this case, now we want to work with a simple example on click. So then we set it just the same way we set any other attribute. If you look at how I'm setting it up now, I set it very identical to how we set up our ID, our class. Do you understand? So the only difference here is the attribute name on click. Okay, so it's just different from any other attribute that we are already used to. So that is just the only difference. Now, inside of these double quotes, okay, whatever we specify here is regarded to as a JavaScript command. Do you understand? So whatever we do in between these our quotes, this double quote now, is considered a JavaScript action. Do you get it now? So what do we do here? So I want to go with a simple JavaScript instruction. Then pardon me, I will explain further more later. So I will go with a simple alert. Okay, and mind you, alert is not written in lowercase. Okay, so why is this so? Because JavaScript is case sensitive. Do you understand it now? All JavaScript keywords. No. JavaScript is case sensitive. Case sensitive in what sense? Okay. Do you understand? So all the keywords that you have in JavaScript are in lowercase. Then if it's a combination of words, you use capital casing. I will explain more about that. But I cannot use capital A now. This is what I mean by case sensitive. I cannot do capital A for alert. It won't work. So I must write everything in lowercase or in lowercase. Do you understand? Then a single quote, then I want to specify a message. Okay, and this message will be very simple. I want to have you click on this you click on this button. Okay, it's a very simple one. So now, what do you think will happen? Whenever we go back to our HTML page now and we click on this button, automatically we will have this message. So let's try that. We come back to our HTML. Okay, I'm using a live server, so everything has been reloaded. So if I click, then you'll see we have this alert. You can see that alert now on my screen. You click on this button. So you realize that is exactly the message I have. You click on this button. So whenever I click, I will see this alert. So, and this is a simple JavaScript in action. This is JavaScript in action now. But this time around now, this is considered inline JavaScript. Why? Because we end up mixing our JavaScript with our HTML. So they are all together. And this is why we refer to it as inline JavaScript. So we are writing the old JavaScript all inside of our HTML. So this old JavaScript is written directly inside of our HTML. And this is not too good because you realize we talk about stuff like this even with CSS. You understand? So it's not always good for us to mix our JavaScript with our HTML because it makes it much more difficult for us to manage. Oh, sorry. So it's very difficult for us to manage. Ms. Michelle, sorry for keeping you waiting. Welcome, ma'am.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, sorry for keeping you waiting there.
I was even thinking I had issue with my network.
Ma?
I was even thinking I had issue with my network.
No. It was from my end, sorry.
No problem.
So I think, we've lost Mr. Okezi. So let's just continue. So is this concept clear? Working with this inline JavaScript.
Very clear.
Okay.
Yes.
So now this is why we derive another method because we don't want to end up having our HTML mixed up with our JavaScript. So a best approach is for us to have a separate area where we have just JavaScript and we have another area for HTML. This will be much more easier for us to manage, okay, rather than combining or jam packing everything together. Now, this is easy enough because we don't have much action. We are not taking much action. We just want to have a simple alert. Do you understand? Just a simple notification to the user. But reality is we can actually do a lot more than this. Do you understand? We can do a lot more than this. And this is the major reason why we don't want to mix up our HTML with our JavaScript. You get the idea now? So now,
Yes.
if that part is clear, let's look at the second method. That is working with internal. Okay? The internal JavaScript or the embedded JavaScript. Now, this is just the type of JavaScript that is still written within the HTML, but within the script tag. Okay, we will still write it here inside of our HTML, but within the script tag. Now, this script tag we can have it either in the head of the document, that is in the head part, or within the body part. You understand? But I will explain the differences later on. So now, I just want to show you a simple example. So just after this button, okay? Now, mind you, whenever you want to add the script, always add it to before the closing of the body, okay? That is if you are adding it to the body. Then when you add it to the head, you can add it anywhere within the head. That is up to you. But if you are adding it to the body, always make sure you add it just before the closing of the body. Do you understand? So now we need to create a script tag. Script. Now, within this script tag, we can actually specify our JavaScript. So between this opening and closing of script, whatever we do, okay, is considered a JavaScript instruction. It's just like when you work with CSS. So whatever you do within your style tag is considered a rule. Do you understand? The same thing goes here now. Whatever we try to do will be considered a JavaScript instruction. So now I want it to be very simple enough. So I'm not going to make it too complicated. So what I want to do is I want to take this alert away. You know, this is the part that is actually JavaScript. So I want to take it away from this area. So what can we do? So we want to go inside of the script. Then we want to create a simple function. So we have function. So we need to type function out. Then we need to give our function a name. And in this case, I want to say, I will name it handle click. I just want to name it based on what that is going to do for me. Handle click. So then I'll open a pair of parentheses, brackets, sorry, a pair of brackets. So I will open the bracket, close the bracket, then I'll open my curly brace. Then within this curly brace, I will paste my alert. So when you see a code like this, okay, within the script, this is what we refer to as a function declaration or a function block. So how can we invoke this function? Now, we don't just want to invoke this function, but we want to invoke this function whenever the user clicks on the button. So what can we do? We need to go back to the onClick. So inside of the onClick, instead of putting the alert there, we just want to type the function name undo click. Okay, and you must type it exactly the way it is because you can see I'm capitalizing the C. So because JavaScript uses method called camel casing. Do you understand? And in this case, this is up to me because I'm the one that created the name now. So, but that is exactly how names are defined in JavaScript. So that is exactly how you see them defined within JavaScript. So then you see, just in front of it, I have my parentheses. I open it and I close it. As yes, the bracket. I open the bracket and I close it. So if I save it, then it will still trigger the same behavior. So if I go back to my browser and I still click, I will see that alert. Sorry. So it's like something is not working fine. So it seems we have some error. So now, anytime you have an error in your code and you try to debug, you don't know where it's coming from. So all you need to do is very simple. Just right-click on an empty environment within the browser. Right-click, then you click on, so you scroll down. So until you see this inspect, then you click on inspect. That will open a separate tab within the browser. You will see it now. So you can see my own browser now. Then in here, I will see this. So I will see elements and I need the console. So when I click on console, notice I have this uncaught syntax error, unexpected identifier S. So it means I'm adding one extra tab. And you can see that now. Just after my function, I have S. So I need to take the S away, save it again, and come back here. You understand? And now you can see I don't have any error within the console. So which likely means if I click on this button, I see the alert once again. So is that clear?
Yes.
So this is basically how we can actually trigger. But looking close at this now, okay, we still violate because initially, remember I said we don't want to mix our JavaScript with our HTML. But regardless, within this onClick, I'm still calling a JavaScript function. Do you understand it now? So is it possible for us not to have anything JavaScript within the HTML area? So we can limit our JavaScript to within the script. Do you understand? So this makes it easier as it's categorized. So the HTML will stay separately on their own. then this JavaScript will stay separately on their own as well. Do you get the idea now? So,
Yes.
so this will make it clearer and simplify it the more, because we want to eliminate JavaScript completely from this HTML opening tag. Do you understand it now? So now, to do that, I want to get rid of onClick completely. Then I want to work with just a simple ID. Okay, then on this ID, I want to give it a value of my BTN, and realize you can give it any value. ID is up to you. You have control over what value you are setting. So, and in this particular case now, I'm giving a value called my BTN. Now, if I save it, go back to this browser and I click, you notice we don't have the alert again. And also, we don't have any error within our console. There's no error within this console. And also, if I click on this click me, nothing is happening. Do you understand? So the reason for this is because I still have my function here, but reality is that there's no relationship between the script now and the body. So there's no way the body can automatically link itself to the function. Do you understand it now? So what I need to do at this point is for me to create a relationship. Then how can I create this relationship? Because we don't want to put anything JavaScript here inside of our HTML. So at this point now, we need to do what? We need to look for a way to locate this button. Then how do we locate the button? So we have access to some methods in JavaScript. So, and these methods are a little bit wide, but just follow along, you will understand how it works. Now, there's something called document. And document in JavaScript, anytime I say document, so let me show you what it looks like inside of the console. So console.log, and I will pass the document as the argument. Okay, so I'm telling my JavaScript now, show me what is document inside of the console. So if I save that, come back here, then you can see that now we have the document inside of the console. And if I expand it, you can see, let me just reload it because it's not showing us how we expect to see it. But thankfully, this is referring to this current page, the old HTML. Everything, this HTML, whatever I have on this HTML page is what we refer to as document. Do you understand it now? The whole of our page is what JavaScript consider documents. Is it clear?
Yes.
That is?
Yes.
If it's not clear, what we mean by document in JavaScript is this HTML page I'm working with. You realize I'm working directly from this index.html now. So the whole HTML is what JavaScript consider a document. Do you understand it now? So now this document has some methods that can get me things, method that can set things. So let's try one of the method out. Running out of time. Okay, let's try one of them out. So let's try dot get, then element by ID. So this simply means go to my HTML document, go and get me any element there that has an ID. Then I need to specify the ID that I'm looking for. So an ID now in quotes, I will pass that value mine and then BTN. So let's show that inside of the console. I'll save that. And if you look at it here, you notice it's actually getting the button for me. It's getting me the button, and here is the button. So this is the button here. Do you understand it now? So now, once JavaScript gets me this button, then I can actually act. I can decide what will happen. So let me take my console out. So I'm only interested in the part that gets me the button. Now, when it gets me the button, I want to bind an event to the button. So bind an event out. I'll do dot on click. dot onClick, then I'll set that to be equal to a function. So I'll set this to be equal to a function. Then I'll open parentheses. Then I'll open curly brace. Then inside of this curly brace now, I can now call my function handle click. Then I'll open parentheses and close parentheses. So now, so this is what my JavaScript code look like. So we get this element from the page, then we try to find a particular event. And what is that event? Whenever there's a click on the button. So call this function. So I will call this function, and that function will call another function. So when I call this anonymous function will call the handle click. So if I save this, come back to my HTML, you realize we don't have any error inside of our console. Then if I click on my button, you see it's working exactly the same way. If I click on the button, so you can see when I click on the button now, it's working exactly the same way. So, and this is exactly how or what we mean by having events. And if you look at it now, so I can actually give some spacing, you realize that all of my JavaScript is within this area, is within this script. I don't have anything outside. Whatever I'm doing is within the script. Any question?
Network is disturbing me. I don't know. I was wondering. I couldn't do anything. That's only happened. I'm sorry back.
Yeah, sorry. So sorry, sir.
So I missed everything. Honestly.
Everything. Wow. So, Mrs. Emanuela, you are with us. Mrs.
I'm
Roy, you are here with us. Mrs. Michelle and Mr. Abdullah. So
yes, please, I'm with you.
Okay, so is everything clear up to this point?
Yes.
Okay, so this is one way by which you can actually bind an event. Now, there's another method that we can use. So the other method that we can use here, Mr. Okeze, please, I will attend to you, please. So we can use another method, and this another method is called add event listener. So I will copy this same document.get element. So that gave me the element. Then I can do dot add event listener. So we can listen to an event. So in this case, what is the event? We are listening for a click. So whenever there's a click, so what exactly do we want to do? We want to call the function handle click. So, and this time around, we don't need to open any parentheses. We don't need to open parentheses. We don't need to close parentheses after the handle click. We just pass the name. And if I save it, come back to my browser, the end result should be exactly the same thing. So here, sorry. So if I reload this now, so if I click, then you realize I will still have the same result. So either you use the first method, that is this method above, or you use the second method. Either way, it will work fine for you. So, Mr. Okeze.
Can you hear you, sir?
Okay, sir. Now, before this time, we are talking about how, okay, or what are the methods by which we can actually use in adding JavaScript to an existing HTML. Then we say we have three methods we can use. One is the inline method. Two is the internal or the embedded method. Okay, and the third one is the external method. Okay, then I said when we are talking of inline is used, okay, directly with the HTML element. Okay, just like if I have a paragraph, for example now, a paragraph, okay, and I say this paragraph will be control, okay, control, I don't want to call it control paragraph. So what can we do? So we can go to this paragraph and I can actually pass a particular attribute on click. I can pass on click. So let's work with on click. Then inside of my on click, I can actually specify what will happen. Then we have a simple example like alert. Show me an alert box. Okay, that's okay. You click this paragraph. You understand now? So if I save it, if I come back to my HTML page, okay, and you see that paragraph, if I click on it, we see that alert immediately. So, and remember, paragraph is a block level element, means this paragraph goes all the way from here to this line. So if I click anywhere around this side, you notice we still have that message because they are still considered part of the paragraph. Remember, paragraph is a block element. So you start from the beginning to the end. So when you click anywhere within that region, okay, it's considered a click on a paragraph. And this message will be triggered immediately. And we say everything we have here now is in line because we end up mixing our JavaScript with our HTML. Do you understand? So some parts, like all these parts are HTML, while all these things, everything we have inside of our on click is a JavaScript instruction. You get the idea now. So now that is the example of inline. Now I now say it's not too good for us to add this JavaScript to the HTML like this because managing this JavaScript when we have a lot of things to do, okay, will be very much difficult for us. Okay, so to simplify this, we need to have a separate area where we want to have our JavaScript. Okay, and with that, we say we need to create a separate tag, which is going to be the script tag. So when we create the script tag, then we can put whatever we do within the script tag is going to be considered as JavaScript. Just like when you work with CSS and you open style tag. So you realize that whatever you do within the style is considered a CSS instruction. Yes. So the same thing happened here. So whatever I do within this script is considered a JavaScript action. Okay. So let's just, we have less than 1 minute. So let's wait until, this time elapsed. So I will share another link with you immediately. Okay, so we can continue.
Okay.
Let me share that in the group. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Let's hold on a little bit for others to join us. Yes.
You know,
Why is it down? Yeah. So that exactly I will also be talking about that. So I will explain so they know. Now the reason is very simple. This is basically because when you are dealing with CSS, okay, before you create the elements, the browser needs to know about the style to use. Because
Please, sir, kindly share your screen.
No, okay, I will share, sir.
Okay, sir.
So the browser is basically reading it from top to bottom. Okay, so and reality is that it needs to know about the rule before it gets to them. You understand? So if it doesn't know about them, if it is after you print the elements, you now want to, so the browser cannot go back again to it. So this is why style is always at the top. You understand? So I want my room to be white. So it needs to know about it before it gets to the room. So immediately it gets to the room, it paints the room white, straight. So there's no point. But when it comes to JavaScript, JavaScript cannot act until the element has been created. So you need to see the element first, okay, before you can actually enhance. Okay, well, this is what I'm doing, okay. And the reality is we can have our this thing before, and I will show that to you. But it will work only when we are not looking for anything like this. If I don't look for anything like this, if I have function at the top, it will work. But if I'm looking for stuff like this, it will not work. Because I have this, it will be looking for this element. And if this element has not been created at that, it triggers an error immediately. So I'm still waiting for Mr. Okezi. So, but for others, I believe this concept is clear. So I'm only going over it again because of Mr. Okezi. That's why I'm using another thing. I'm using a paragraph to explain. Because reality is that with JavaScript, we can set events on anything. So it's not compulsory as a button. Do you understand? It can be a section, it can be a div, it can be image. So we have different events that we can actually listen to. We can listen for different events. Do you understand? This is part of what we mean by interactions. So when a user mouse on top of something, I want to do something. When a user click on something, I want to do something. When a user drag something, I want to do something. So these are what we mean by user interactions. So welcome back, Mr. Okezi.
Thank you.
So now I'm going over this inline and the internal for you. You understand? So now, so we say it's not too good for us to mix up our HTML with our JavaScript. So then what are the other ways? Now we have this other way, which is referred to as internal or embedded. I'm saying this particular concept, we need to open a script. So just like what you see here now, we open script and we close that script. And we say this script we can actually have this script in any area. That is, we can have it either within the body or within the head. You realize your HTML has two parts. It has head and it has body. So reality is we can add this to any of those areas. We can add the script to the head, or we can also have it to the body. Do you understand it now? But the body, before the closing of the body, is the best location for you to have your script. Now, I will also be showing you what will be the effect if I try to move my script to the head now. I'll show you some examples. Okay, so you'll be able to differentiate between having the script at the top and having it at the bottom. Do you understand it now? So if you are having your script, you need to have this script just before the closing of the body. So which means it's going to be the last element on your page. Okay, and this is what we refer to as internal or embedded, because ideally we are embedding JavaScript to this page. So it's still within the HTML, but we have two separate areas. All our HTML are just outside of the script, okay? And every part that is related to JavaScript is within the script. So it's very easy for us to trace things out whenever we get things wrong. So we can easily trace them, okay? If our issue is with JavaScript, we know exactly where to go to. If our issue is with HTML, we know exactly where to go to. Do you understand the idea now? Yeah. So now we want to have this same action. Now we say instead of us to set this directly on the paragraph, so let's set an ID on the paragraph, ID. Then here I want to give this ID of P1. Then this P1, I can get it using JavaScript. Okay, and you realize that I'm only getting here. So I want to show you another method of getting. So when I get now, I want to also store it. So, and to store in JavaScript, we can create a variable So how do you create variable? We use the var keyword, then followed by the variable name. In this case, I want to name it based on the ID. So I'll call it P1 also. And I'll set this to be equal to document, then dot get elements. So this document dot get elements is still that method that we discussed earlier. So it simply means go to my page, go and get me any element that has an ID. And what is the ID? P and 1. That is the ID we are looking for. So the browser will get this for me, and for you to know it's getting that particular paragraph, I will show you the content of the paragraph. So I will say console.log, and this time around, remember, I'll store that. I'll store it here inside of this variable, P1. So to work with it, I'll say P1, then dot inner HTML. So it simply means show me the HTML, okay, the content of the HTML of this particular element. So if I save it, come back to my browser, I hope I'll share my screen. I believe you can see my screen.
Yes.
So you see, we have exactly the same text, control paragraph. That's exactly what we have inside of the console now. So that line that shows us this is line 32, and see the line number here. So if you check your code, you see this is coming from line number 32. It show me the inner HTML. Show me the inner HTML of that paragraph. So I'm doing this for you to know that I'm getting that paragraph within JavaScript. So which technically means I can get rid of this particular function. I can get rid of it completely from here. So take it out, and I can remove the on-click altogether. I don't need it. I can remove everything. Then I still want to bind my event. I still want to bind that click to that paragraph. So what to do is just for me to use the P1 now, because that value will be available to me now. So I can do dot add event listener. And what is the event? I'm listening for click. Then what do I want to do? So I want to call a function. So anonymous function this time around. Then I will open curly brace and close curly brace. Then inside of this curly brace, I will put this alert here. So this will do exactly that similar thing to what we have before. So if I save it, go back to my browser, and you see if I click on a paragraph, we say this, you click this paragraph. Okay, and the good thing about this is if you look at my HTML, I don't have anything. So this is my HTML. So I don't have anything JavaScript in the page anymore. That is, I don't have it directly with the HTML. I don't have it directly with the HTML anymore. So all we have here is just a regular HTML. Okay, this is a regular HTML tag with a regular attribute. But we are still controlling it now, okay, from within the JavaScript. So this is exactly what we are doing, Mr. Okezi. Is this clear now?
Okay, sir. Yeah, I think I'm getting it, sir.
Okay. So now let's now differentiate between having our script inside of the head and having it inside of the body. So what I want to do now, I will collapse the script, then I will highlight it. So I want to cut it. I'll cut it, then I want to go straight to the head of the document. So just after the title, I'll paste the script. Do you understand it now? I'll save it, yes, and go back to my browser. So now I'll go to the console, and instantly inside of the console, you can see we have some error there now. Currently, there's an error. So, and yes, because of this error, if I click on the button, you notice it's not working again. If I click on the paragraph, it's not working again. I'm clicking on the paragraph now, and nothing is working again. Okay, so why is this so? This is basically because JavaScript is reading our code line by line. That is the browser, sorry. The browser reads the code line by line. Remember, it's the browser that's giving us the interpretation of what all our code here now. Whatever we write here now is the browser that is interpreting it. Okay? And it's giving us the result of what the code means or how it should work. But currently now, so on line 8, we create a function. So that is not really a problem to JavaScript. But on line 15 and on line 17, that is where this error is coming from, where we attempt to look for an element that has not been defined. You get the idea now? So we are trying to locate, we are trying to look for a paragraph. Oh, sorry, Mrs. Raniroy. Ms. Raniroy is having challenges with our network. Are you back? Are you up now?
Yes, I'm up, but
Okay.
it keeps going on and off.
Yeah, so sorry about that. So the problem is coming from line 15 and line 17. Okay, and this is as a result of us asking JavaScript to go and get us element that has not been created. Do you understand it now? Just because I'm using get document or get element by ID. So immediately the browser gets to these two lines. It tries to look for an element, okay, that has an ID of my body, my BTN, and it's also looking for an element that has an ID of P1. None of them has been created. Then immediately JavaScript throw an error. Do you get the idea now? Okay, and that is why nothing is working, because if you look at what the error message is here now, it's telling me on code side error, cannot read property of node. Well, okay, well, there's no way you can read this property. I cannot get the element, so there's no way I can read it. And you can see it's pointing at that line specifically. That is line 15. That's where the error is coming from. So you see line 15, index.html colon 15. That 15 that you see is the line number where the error is coming from. Are we good? Now, we have a simple way. This will have worked, assuming it's just before the closing of the body. This will work fine. But in this case now, it's not working because those elements have not been created. So we have a simple way of fixing this. If we really need to fix this in JavaScript, what we need to do is move all these actions away. So from line 15, I'll cut it. Then I need to set event handler on the entire document. So what would that be? I will say document dot add event listener. Then what is the event? So here I will say doc content loaded on DOM content loaded. So then what exactly do I want to do? I want to run anonymous function. So, and within this anonymous function, so I can specify whatever I want JavaScript to do for me. Okay? And immediately I specify this, you realize that everything should work fine on the page. So if I save this again now, I come back here and you realize we don't have that error again. And you realize if I click on the button, it's working fine. And if I also click on the paragraph, it's working fine. So what difference does this make, really? This makes some difference because it means JavaScript does not execute whatever we have inside of this from line 15 to line 22. JavaScript does not execute them immediately. It only executes them after the whole DOM has been loaded. After everything, every single thing on the page has been loaded. So it will now call the function, okay, and started executing whatever we have within that block. Now, you realize that our function is outside. We don't need to have our function inside. If we have it inside, no problem. Okay. Now, the reason why our function is working now is because by default, when you work with JavaScript, functions are hoisted. Hoisted, H-O-I-S-T. So you can make your research on that. So it simply means whenever the browser tries to load the page, it first locates all the functions and place them at the top of the page. So they will always be accessible regardless of where you are calling them. So it doesn't really matter if I'm calling them before or I'm calling them after, they will all be placed at the top. So whenever I call them from anywhere, they will always be accessible, they will be available, they will always work. So, and that is the difference between placing your JavaScript. So assuming we place the JavaScript below now, okay, that is before the closing of the body, then we don't need to do this extra line on line 15. We don't need to do that. But because we have it before the creation of our element, then we need to take extra step so that JavaScript will not run into an error. Any question? Yes. Add it. Yes, because the add event listener takes two arguments. The first argument is the event you want to call. And the second argument is the function to run. So whenever this event takes place, so what is the function? So a function must be assigned to handle. Do you understand that event? So that's why they have that. So I just beside me here, I have a student and he's asking a question that why is it that anytime we are using this add event listener, we call this function? Okay, and this is what I refer to as anonymous function. So anywhere you see me calling function and I don't have a name and I just open parentheses, we call it anonymous function. Okay, so I will talk more about that when we get to the part of function. I will explain more. Okay, why you have these things in JavaScript. So anonymous function is just a function that has no name. So we bind them to an event. So that is, they'll be called conditionally. So only when that event takes place, they're called them. So, and they are used for one-time operation. One-time operation where, so if I need that function over and over, then I'll give my function a name, just like this undo click. So if I want to be able to call it just from anywhere, I'll give my function a name. But if I only want to use it in one-time operation, then there's no point for me to waste my time giving a name for a function that I only want to use for one time. So that is that. So any question? I'm expecting question from your side though. So one thing you should note now is that you can see that the syntax of JavaScript is completely different from the HTML and it's different from the CSS.
And isn't that different? And the way you write it is quite different. Everything.
Everything.
And I don't know. I don't know the color. I mean, the color I was using before is not okay. I mean, all these things. I don't know about that, but my own, I'm not really listening. But if all that's okay, fine.
Okay. If color, okay. Don't worry. I will change that now. So I'll go to my team. Color team. Then let's just go with Sublime Material Light. No, let me use a dark. Atom 1 dark. How about this?
No. The one we've been using before now. How about the one we've been using before?
No. The issue is I don't know the one we have been using before.
You know, Auntie Lola, they always use a white background, but you're using a color. I don't know, maybe that's the problem.
The code editor will give color normal. By default, they'll give color. So the only thing
the one you've been using last week before this new one, the one you've been using since few days.
What I'm saying is, if the essence of this color, okay, is basically colorize this thing. Let me see.
No, but for the sites, yeah, for the site now, for the site as well. Some sites is not really.
Is it the background?
At the back, I saw that 8. No, before. Oh, Jesus.
This is okay.
Is it that the background should be white?
No.
Okay, now this is.
Is this okay? I have a lot of team here, so and all they are doing is just change the look and the feel of my
I
code
think
editor.
this is okay. This is okay. Oh,
This one.
See,
this
what
is
about
okay.
if you change the entire background to white? Does it have anything? I don't have any meaning.
Okay, let me use a light. Let me use a light theme then. Ever light. So how about this?
This is what we've been doing with Antilolade like this. Normally she change the background to white.
Okay, if this is more clearer for you, it's okay by me, no problem.
Then the font have slightly bigger, so I can see clear.
Okay.
Is it that you're zooming it or you change the font size?
I'm zooming, like I just zoom in. Okay, or will you prefer I just change the font size?
I think don't zoom so that we can see the entire distance together. Maybe you change the font size.
Okay. So settings. That's editor. So font size, and that exit. So is it better like this?
Yes, it's
I
fine.
think yes.
Okay.
I think it's fine. I think it's okay.
Okay, sir.
Then you can now use your color. Use your color, so it's okay. White is fine.
I want to ask something. Please, sir, I
Okay.
want to ask something. These
Okay.
colors,
Okay,
does it
ma'am.
really mean I can see different color like green, blue?
No, the color is just syntax. Okay.
Differentiate
Yes, it's just for you to differentiate different parts of it.
a different part and
So
events.
exactly. So that is your code. Is the code editor that is doing this for you?
Yes, I
So
know.
it doesn't really, yeah. It's the code editor that is doing this for you.
I think the document is a different thing. The add event list is different thing. Function.
Exactly.
Then the new one different function. So that kind of thing.
Exactly. So whenever you are calling a function, you give them. You see, all function has similar color.
Different colors. Okay.
So when you have a text, you see it in another color. When you open parentheses, you see it in a certain color. When you open curly brace, you see it in a certain color. So it makes it clearer.
Yeah. Yes.
That is just exactly what the code editor is doing.
Okay, I think it's okay.
Okay, so this is just introduction to how we can add. And basically, we've talked about two parts now. So let's talk about the third part for this night. Okay, so then it's the next class. So what's the third method? Okay, and we say for the third method, we have the external. So what does external mean? External means we need to create a separate file, okay, that will store all the JavaScript. Okay, now the beauty of working with external is that the same script can be used on other pages, just like your CSS. So when you have a separate CSS, then there's no limitation to how many pages where you can use that rule. Currently now, this script is limited to this page. Only this page can make use of this script. Do you understand it now? So, but by working with external, you can create a separate file. So let's try that. So we click on new file, then we give our file a name. Now you can give it any name. I just want to go with main. Then being a JavaScript file, this we have .js file extension. .js file extension. Do you understand? Then this makes it clearer so that okay, this file can only store and we only store JavaScript. So then with that now, what I can do is I can highlight everything we have within the script. Everything we have within the script. and I want to cut it. So I'll cut it and I will go to my main.js, then I'll paste it here. Do you understand it now? So immediately I paste it here.
Yes.
So it means my HTML page will be very, very plain and clean because I don't have any script here anymore. So what I can do now, I can get rid of this script completely. So, but this will bring about a little issue because we don't have any relationship between that script now and the HTML. So you realize if I click on any of these, they are not working again because we don't have access to the JavaScript. So what can we do? So to link them together, we still need to use the script tag. So we use the script, okay? But this time around, we set an SRC attribute. Then within this SRC, we specify the path. What is the address? So in this case, we have them together. We have them on the same page. Okay, that is, we have both of them, both the JavaScript and the index.html. They are both inside of this JS folder. Do you understand? None of them is inside of the source folder. So I just point directly to it. main.js. Then I'll save it. And immediately that gives us access to our JavaScript again. So if I click on this, we see it's working again. And if I click on this, then it's working again. So, and this is what we mean by working with external. So because we don't have, so you can see our HTML page is very basic. Okay, and we are just adding this to our.
So the way we add the script, why you link the HTML page? So it doesn't matter. Can link it?
Yes, you can link it at the top, but if you are linking it at the top, okay, you will need to do another thing. If you are linking it at the top, you will need to do another thing because now what you need to do is exactly what we discussed.
You can put it anywhere.
Yes. What with this, if we are looking at the top, you will need to do this. Do you understand? But as a matter of fact, I don't really need to do this because I'm linking it at the bottom. So because I'm linking at the bottom, I don't need to do this exclusively. Okay, and if I save it now, you realize that everything will still work. So if I click on this, it's still working. And if I click on this, it's still working. But we will have the same problem if we move this script to the top. So if we go back to our HTML, and we try to move this to the top, if we move this script again back to the top, so you realize that we will run into the same problem as we have before. If I move it here, save, come here, then you see exactly that same issue. So, and the solution will be coming here, and that part that will comment out, we just want to uncomment it again. So we just need to uncomment it again. And immediately we uncomment it again, everything should start working once again. So everything should start working once again. So, and that is how. So that is how you can actually work with external JavaScript. So, and this is what we mean by external JavaScript. So depending on where you are loading it. So if you are loading it at the top, then you need to take one extra step, which will be, you need to use the document.add event listener, then dump content loaded. When everything has been loaded, then you want to call a function that will be run.
He has to start with document.add event listener.
Yes. And look at the add event list now. You need to write it the same way you say it, like this. You realize A is in small letter, then the E start with capital. This is what we make by camel case. Camel case. A is capitalized, L is capitalized. So it's very identical to how you say this undo click.
Okay.
So that is how JavaScript writes its own this thing. If you look at this get element by ID, doesn't follow the same principle. Get begin with small letter G. The E there is capitalized. The E there is capitalized. The B is capitalized. The I is capitalized. So I cannot write everything as small letter. I cannot write everything as capital letter. It will not work.
But with the VS Code can help us fill up everything whenever we bring it up.
Not every time, sir. So sometimes your code editor will not even give you suggestion.
Okay, no problem.
Yes, and they are easy to mess with. That is one funny thing about them. They are easy to mess with. So finding where the issue is coming from is very, very difficult sometimes. Though the code inside within the console, okay, JavaScript will actually highlight, try to point you to where the error is coming from, regardless. It try to point you to, oh, this is where the error is coming from. Okay, then from there you can be able to pick what the error is and fix it.
Okay,
So
no
because
problem.
JavaScript is considered a straight language, it's straight. Because whatever I need to write as capital, I must write it as capital. Whatever I need to write as small letter, I must write it as small letter. So this word we mean is a straight language. It's
okay, if JavaScript is a script language, okay, how about CSS? What is it? What language is it?
CSS is a style language used for styling, nothing more.
Okay.
So JavaScript
What I said is markup.
Yes, the markup, yes.
So what about React? What is the difference between the React and the JS?
I see here. So any other question?
Although I would difference between the React and JS.
Yes, the difference between React and JS and the normal, because this is called vanilla JavaScript. So the difference between them is that React.js is written in vanilla JavaScript. So, and it has some of the syntax a little bit different from this. And it has concept different from this. Because JavaScript is directly working with your DOM. It's working with DOM. DOM means document object model. Document object model. This DOM that you see here.
Okay.
Yes, then React work with virtual DOM.
Okay.
So that is different between them. So in JavaScript, we can actually deal with we can deal with the HTML element directly. But in React, we cannot deal with them directly. So to deal with them, you need to make use of sticks.
Out of Express, Node, and the Angular, all those ones, are we going to do them?
I don't know what the agreement is, but I don't think we are going to cover everything. But JavaScript gives you the foundation you need to go into any JavaScript framework or library. So if you master this vanilla now, okay, then you can go into any of them. So you can say, okay, well, I want to become a Node developer, I want to become React developer, I want to become Angular developer. So though you will need to master some new syntax, but it's not going to be that, it's not going to be like 100%. Because like 60% of what you will see, okay, is already coming from JavaScript. Then maybe like 40% new things you master. That is all.
I said they were going to cover React and the Bootstrap.
Yes, I can actually cover Bootstrap. Bootstrap is not that difficult. It's not.
But React is also part of the
Even though if you are doing React, I can cover React. React is not also an issue for me.
No problem.
Yes, sir. So it seems there's no any other question.
But how about the framework? Where do we get framework? Is it in where do you particularly get framework in JS? Is it Node or where do we get framework?
Node.js is a framework. React is a framework. Vue is a framework. So when you want to work with them, you will need to install them. You realize that when we work with this particular JavaScript now, we don't install anything. Because JavaScript is directly inbuilt into your browser. So you don't need to have anything. So probably in the next class, I'll show you how you can write JavaScript directly inside of this browser and it will work.
Okay, so saying that it's only JavaScript that has that is inbuilt. You cannot install anything if you want to use it.
Exactly. It's inbuilt. By default, it's pre-built. But for you to work with others, you need to install them.
Okay.
Yes. Ms. Michelle.
I'm here, just that my background is noisy. I'm with you.
Ma?
I'm with you. It's just that my background is noisy.
Hey, yeah. But I believe the concept is clear, ma.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, ma. Mrs. Rani Roy and Mrs. Emanuela.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is everything clear?
Yes, I'm fine. Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so we continue from here in the next class. Thank you, ma.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
When
everybody.
would the recording be available? Recording, when it will be available?
As fast as possible, sir.
2 weeks or 3 weeks?
I think we maybe have to. That is too much, now. Usually we have to that.
Okay, like tomorrow.
I will try. I'll try my best, but I'm not promising
Your mind.
that.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right,
All
sir.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Good night.